What's going on, traders? Welcome back to, of course, Start Swing Trade, where we take a look into the swing trading action and everything that happened in the market. Let's take a look at what's going on right now. And it seems like we are getting like a held back tech rally. I'll talk a little bit about that and why I'm seeing that in the markets. But you guys stick right here, hit those thumbs up, and of course, let's get right to the action. Let's take a look at the SPY right now. You guys are seeing it. And let's take a look here. We can see the nice little sideways action that we've had pretty much all day. And this is how it's going to be right now. I feel like in September, as the market deciphers if it wants to go to the next levels or kind of just hang out here. And we can see this on the daily, how we kind of have this trend line that we can start drawing now. And of course, we can kind of take some of these off. So what I'll do is I was looking at levels earlier in the day, so I'll take those off and then we'll take a look at what levels seem to make sense here. And I think that one thing that we need to be looking at is, will we just play chop between the range, right? We could easily just chop around in this area, going down to 440s, back to 450s, maybe going to 455, but I don't see us going straight to 460. And that's one thing definitely to know. One thing also to note is you guys see that we came from what? We came from overbought all the way down to oversold. And now we're working our way back to overbought. It's going to be closer towards the 80s. So we could have a drive in the next couple of days to get us up there and then see a turnaround. Another thing that I'm starting to see is what? The ATR starting to drop off. That's the average true range, showing me what? The volatility is coming down a little bit. We're seeing more sideways action. And that's okay to note because at the end of the day, September is the weakest month for equities, at least historically. So we could be going into a little bit of more chop zone in August, September, and then getting out of it going into October. There's going to be definitely things to watch for. Right now, I think that the only thing you can kind of hit the brake on is maybe the Fed outlook, right? Coming in. Of course, they have a meeting on September 19th, and the decision will be made on September 20th about what happens there. But it's something to take a look at, right? And you're seeing multiple mentions out in Wall Street. You saw Goldman Sachs bring down the outlook for recession. You had UBS sticking to its views of a soft-ish landing. So it seems like there's a lot of outlook out there that's kind of changing around. Goldman cut its recession odds to 15% after they were recently up there towards kind of like 20 and 25%. Well, you guys see it. I think that everybody's seeing the consumer slow down a little bit. The only question is, will they see, actual true recession come to hit? I saw that like Kramer was making, comments that we were already in a recession. So all things to kind of keep an eye out for. Let's go towards the tech names and what we saw in the rotation today, and then we can talk about my trading. I think it's more important just to get to rotation talk because there's still a lot going on right now as we speak. Of course, you guys know I've been trading in different areas. I've been trading in energy and technology most. And I have an industrial play and some other kind of plays, but let's get to the action. Today, definitely leading the charge is technology, up about 0.38. But not a big move today, just kind of hanging in there. It looked like it wanted to get going, and there was some stocks that were pretty decently strong. One stock that I've been pointing to, and you guys can definitely, like I always say, call me out on it in the chat. Let me know. Is this the first time I'm talking about this, or am I just cherry picking? That's what I like to be. Hey guys, I like when you guys call that out, and that's what it's all about. We're going to call it out on everybody. If they cherry pick, they cherry pick. The truth is, one stock that we've been watching for is Microsoft. And I've been talking about, would we get a rip above 330s and start to drive higher? Well, today we were looking to see if we'd get to this high, the 332.98. We got to 334. So big day there for Microsoft. And I talked about it on my Twitter. If you're not following me already, you might be missing out. Just to say, hey, I know that you guys like to tune in to Start Swing Trade, but I keep up with you guys right here on my Twitter. And what did I write? Of course, in the afternoon, man, tech seems strong. Is it a possibility that the stock that took us down in the AI move that started the correction also starting the rebound here with Microsoft's move today? I think we're clearly seeing that. And it's something to keep an eye out. There was other stocks that were strong too. It's not just only Microsoft. We can take a look at some of the technology names that led today, but you guys can see it. Leadership all around having a really decent move today. Meta back up above the 300. Was talking about how this was such an important level. Would we see the takedown to 280s, or would we start seeing it hold 300 and drive right back up? I saw Tesla strong today, up there to 257, up about 4.96%. Nvidia, does this want 500? A little part of me thinks it does. And the way that it's climbing, I wouldn't step in front of it. I'll tell you that much. Like I've talked about it, these stocks are like the dragon stocks. You don't want to be stepping in front of the dragon, just the same way I don't want to step in front of Tesla and be short right now. Hey, you can get ripped in a lot of these names. So just be careful out there. We'll see what's going on, team. But just give me 1 second. I'll be right back. 2 seconds here. All right, guys. Sorry about that. Just had to deal with the dog right quick. All right, let's keep going. Let's go into a different outlook here. Of course, we can stay in the technology names, and I just wanted to take a look at the S&P 500. What kind of led the day, right? You're going to have some big moves here. Tesla, of course, Netflix was one that we saw. VWAP bounce very early on. That was this pullback to 445, up there to the 450s. We were seeing some healthcare plans showing up here. UNH, Humana, ELV, those bounced after really getting crushed as of late. You see Meta showing up here, CF, not really stocks that are showing up in one trend. And then, of course, you see another healthcare plan name like Cigna. But when we take a look at technology, of course, what do we saw lead? We saw some software infrastructure names lead, and names like CrowdStrike getting a lift now. And I want to keep an eye out on this. This looks really good as this starts to lift here. I'm going to keep an eye out for the leader to also take lead. Pan W starting to come back for the 250. We talked about how Sentinel One has kept going since their decent earnings. This looks like it wants to keep moving. So keep your eyes on also a Zscaler getting a nice little lift of 163.40. And what about the snow? Snow is just starting to play catch up, and it hasn't really partaken in the recent rally. Will this start to make a move? I think this is definitely one that I want to keep on watch to see if it can get through 162. But areas that where I see trending here, and not bad movement, especially on these big moves. And look at this AI name up today. CXAI went up there 64%. How did regular AI do there? Let's take a look there. Not really a move, at least not what you expect to see. I thought you would at least get it back to 33.50s. We'll see if it ever crushes down through that 30. Now, of course, in technology names, you guys can keep your eyes on the leaders. We'll see what happens on Apple. Of course, I still have this position. I'm looking for this gap to close and a move to 200 for the iPhone. And I even said it today. If we could hold 86, we'd be looking pretty good. We held 87, and now we're back up there to 189. Can this keep going through the 190s, making its way back there towards all-time highs? Let's see if it gets back up there, right? I think it can get back to all-time high, and then we'll see if it gets to 200. That's 198.23. Can we get up there? We'll find out. Apple staying strong, and I do have this one. Just kind of want to mention it. I still have Apple. I still have Chevron, Intel, and American Airlines, but we'll get into that action. Let's go to energy now, and let's talk a little bit about energy. What a move today in oil overall. XLE getting up there towards a high here of 92.15. Did you guys see what happened in oil today? As, of course, the Saudi released that they would continue their voluntary production cuts. That just sent WTI just lifting off. WTI got to as high as, and I want to take a little peek here to give you guys the range. The peak went up there towards 88.07. So big lift there to 88, range to 85. If we can hold 85 on pullbacks, continue into the 90 handle, this oil trade can keep going. Now, if we see that 80 handle kind of give up and it comes back through 82s, really looking for 82s to kind of hold as support. 85, 82, somewhere in there. If it holds its support, we can continue driving. But if we come back into the 70s, that's when you got to be careful. This trade could turn around in a hurry. But I am long it. I do expect to continue seeing it lift. Chevron was the way that I went about it. And the big thing for me was this bunch up pattern here at the 160s. So it gave all those opportunities to break through. I said, you know what? I'm not going to miss this, even if I'm 1 point up. I went to 161.11s on this day right here, right before the break on Thursday. And now we're getting in, just 2 days, a move up here to 167. I had to take some profits today, guys. I took some profits at 166.01. Still have this position, about half of it left, and I have 3.4% up. Going to continue to watch to see if other oil names can just continue lifting. I saw a lot of them kind of getting a nice little push today. Oxy, EOG getting a nice little push. MPC continuing on the move. PXD not looking too bad, up there to 243s. I remember I was actually trading this around the kind of the 218 to 220 area, and this has already gone to 240s. This has been a nice move there in PXD and these oil names. Smash the like, guys. Let's keep going. We can also talk about my other kind of tech trade. I didn't really get into it, but Intel not looking too bad at all. I kind of want to see it hold the pullbacks, though, to 36. If it gets below 36, I'll take it all off. I have 35 13s. Want this to continue driving through the high and starting to hold this kind of trend on pullbacks, right? If we can actually start closing above here towards 38s and hold 36 on pullbacks, I think we can drive to the next layer. Next layer could be a move there to 39 and maybe even 40. So I'm keeping this one in mind. It doesn't look too bad here. Intel. All right, let's keep going. You guys can see what was down today. What was down today was basic materials, industrials taking a big hit, utilities, real estate. You also had cyclicals down, defensive names coming down. Also, not an area I want to be in at all. Defensive names do not look good. A lot of red action here, guys. What do you see? All industries in the red here. Shows me be careful there with defensive names because they could go lower. I mean, we do have some earnings later in the week, I think, by Kroger's. So maybe that turns around grocery stores. But I can tell you right now, every sector in the red from the open, and it doesn't look good there. Then financial services. Today, I've been talking about this, and I think that you're going to finally see some people show up and focus on this. I've been talking about the KRE. I even shorted it today, made a really good trade on this one, and could have gone after more, right? In the afternoon, we popped back to this 45.25 and then flushed right back down. I'm keeping an eye on to see what names actually start getting hit here on the banking situation, but we could see some names really start to let go. We were seeing some names already kind of letting go here, especially if they start to get hit on their daily outlooks. Like, look at Bank of Hawaii. That's taking big hits there. FFIN, HTH. There's a lot of names that are starting to struggle. And if we go to the high cap names, even today, I got stopped out of this name for a loss. But man, this was actually a good short potential here off the 31s for a turnaround right back down. And it did come back down. And this is Truist Financial. This is TFC. And I think this could come down also. And I look at JPM. Look at that redness that you're seeing in these banks. It doesn't show me confidence that you're going to see a market breadth move higher. We'll see what happens there. Healthcare also taking a major hit, and it looked like it just wanted to take off. Now it's actually going the opposite way and doesn't look good. That looks like a key reversal. The only thing that can help it is if it catches the support tomorrow and gets back up there. But some of these really starting to fall off the tape. Merck coming right back down to 107s tells me that it can come back down towards 105. And are we finally going to start seeing Lilly's strength give up here, as it did put in kind of a little bit of a harmy candle here at 559s, slowing down a little bit. We'll keep watch to see what happens to these medical names. Diagnostics research also taking a major hit down. Thermo Fisher right back down here. It was starting to climb. DHR starting to take a hit, and a lot of these starting to come down. So be careful in the healthcare space. All right, industrials is an area that I have some play, and I did get caught in some of these names. Let's talk a little bit about that and what's going on here. Of course, you guys can take a look at it. I went after the airlines, right? And didn't do too well on it. I can tell you guys right now, not looking the best on this one. And what's affecting the airlines? Of course, what's affecting the airlines is the cost of oil, and UAL, DAL taking a major hit today, but eventually I want to see these kind of catch a turn. So I'm still in AAL. And the reason why I'm still in is that at the end of the day, my risk to return was down to $14 and it's holding in there. It could always turn around and get back through 15. I'm looking to see if it can start to hold here. And it really needs to kind of just catch a little bit of a lift here right back up. So we'll see in the next couple of days if oil takes a downturn, will the airlines come shooting back to the upside? I also saw leisure names taking a hit off of that. And that's, of course, your Carnival Cruise Lines taking a hit and pulling back. And NCLH, though, closing kind of green here. I think this is actually one that I want to keep an eye out for a move back above 17, especially if we see oil take a quick dip to the downside. All right. I always want to have ways to play both sides. I'm actually playing oil to the upside here, but I'm also playing it on a turnaround with AAL. If for any reason oil turns around, I could get the lift in AAL. I don't think it has anything to do with travel right now, as I'm still seeing travel pick up. And I think this holiday season, you're going to see maybe the traveling still happen, but probably not the same electronic buys as we normally see in the holidays. We'll see what happens there. All right, getting out of the industrial space. And then, of course, let's talk about my red trades today. I did get red in MGM and Penn. I tried to give it the shot, guys, and I'm glad I cut Penn early. I didn't stay for this whole downside action move. I cut Penn at 23.40. So as it went through the 23.50s, didn't really want to hold it. Gave it a little bit of some room to the 23.40s, but it was a quick candle right out the gates. Stopped me out in Penn. And Penn looks like it wants lower now. It doesn't look like it wants to turn around one bit. Big red candle there. That actually might hit big on DraftKings here, as DraftKings is trying to hold on, but Penn took a beating today. We'll see if DraftKings kind of gets hit overnight. All right. And I also, of course, got out of MGM, and that was kind of more of a casino's outlook to see what would happen there. Some of these casinos have been doing really well, so I went after it. And today we take a major hit there, and some of these stocks taking a big hit. We'll see what happens. LVS coming down big, down 2.3%. MGM, Caesars, they all kind of pulled back here right out the gates. So did Penn. Doesn't look that good now. We'll see what happens on these names. And Win, it was just through 100 and back down to 97. All right, catching up with the chat. What's going on out there, team? Smash a like. Let me know what you guys are looking at. And definitely show the love. Hit the like buttons. All right, Jay Rice, AMD and NVIDIA speaking and spoke at the GS conference today. Doesn't seem like a bad one to keep an eye out, especially NVIDIA, not NVIDIA, AMD. AMD's chart looks great there for me. And if you take a look here on the daily chart, you kind of did this undercut and rally trade where you came down, and on that day that you got actually down there, you brought more volume into the name. This looks like it wants to come back and start to ramp up. Let's see if this really starts to push, especially if we get, these techs to actually have a rally. Well, this is definitely one that's going to be on my radar. It needs to kind of battle through here, the 113, but I don't mind looking at it for a day trade. AMD doesn't look too bad here. Unity. Yeah, that's one of the stocks we were watching, right? Look at this line. I drew this before, created this on 9.5, right? And was looking to see if this could get above that hourly level. And it nice little breakout. Nice pullback to VWAP, 37 caught. Up there to 38s. It seems like today was another day where it went to what? Risk on, guys, risk on. And I think that that's what you need to be looking for. There's certain stocks that are starting to set up for that upside move. Square turning around a little bit there. Let's take a look here. Palantir looks like it could reload here and go back to 16. We'll see what happens on that one. Was also keeping an eye on Roku. Roku getting above the 83s. Doesn't look too bad. And definitely seeing the growth stocks get a little bit of a push back. So keep your eyes on those names. They're definitely getting a nice little push. The only question is, can it keep going? I think what you need to be looking for is how bad is this banking situation going to get? Because JPM has just been coming down and down and down. Will this turn around? Doesn't look like it right now, but it's something that I want to keep an eye out for. All right, Marty, what's going on? How about the ARM IPO next week? Yeah, that could actually lift, especially if we get a nice little tech rally. Splunk straight up since earnings. Yeah, this is actually one that could get a nice little AI pop in the long run. I think these are the type of businesses that could do well in AI. Regular AI going to disappoint on earnings tomorrow. Yeah, I think that probably could be coming through. So just be careful there. I see that stock down, but hey, we'll see what happens there. Sup, bro? Coin looking weak. What's your thoughts? Well, coin is definitely on my radar, guys, and I think that I've been waiting for this to get back up through the 80 spot. I actually set an alert there for me, and it didn't go through today. Another down day, but does it mean that it's completely broken? No, if it's actually slowing down the downside action move here, and I could see a little bit of some bottoming action today around, let's say, the 77. Let's see if we can get this up there towards 78 and 80s. Once it gets back to 80s, I definitely want to keep an eye on it because it could rip back to 85. How did Airbnb do today? It did get included to the S&P 500. Got a nice little up move out the gates. Now pulling back pretty fast here. Blackstone doing the same action. Are we seeing some downside in the market? Yeah, we are seeing some downside in the market. I think this necessarily has to do with the banking situation. Man, I should have got short the KRE today. Now down to 44.66. I was shorting in the 45.25s. So not a bad outlook there. I'm still looking to see this come down and continue going down. So I also talked about how the XLF was something that we could have looked at. And today that is continuing to drop. And we'll see if this continues to go further. And I think that I'm going to continue to watch. These banks look weak. They look like there's some concern here, yet nobody's talking about it. Will they be talking about it? Like I always say, I have a tendency of talking about something here on Money Mitch on Start Swing Trade at like on Monday. And then by Friday, next thing you know, you see it on CNBC. You see it on investing.com. You see it on Bloomberg. You see it on Reuters. Well, you might want to get it first right here on Benzinga, of course. And why? Just because I'm seeing it and I'm waving the red flag. I've been talking about the banks for weeks now, and it just seems like nobody's paying attention to this move. If it keeps going lower, I think this is what turns around that tech rally. If for any reason we could get financials to get a lift, if we could get JPM to start pushing back into the green, yeah, I could see this actually giving tech the boost to continue going. Feels like tech wants to go, but something is holding it back. And that something right now to me is the bank outlook. All right, let's keep going, team. We'll see what else is going on. Why is Unity running? It's just because of growth. It's to me, Unity is running because it's part of the growth names. It has nothing to do with the stock itself. I think it has everything to do with what growth names starting to get the lift. And you guys can see that action by looking at like names in ARKK and seeing them get the lift today. Even Zoom, look at Zoom up 3%. Do you think that they're just buying Zoom because it's Zoom communication? No, I mean, it's just a move there towards some risk on and some growth names. All right, watch out for C3AI. Everyone is bearish. My gut feeling tells me the stock goes back to 42. Yeah, I'll tell you one thing. I'm not going to get in front of AI's report. A little part of me is like, short it, Mitch, short it. But that's just asking for it. I don't play with earnings, guys. Playing with earnings has always been a recipe of disaster for me. Every time I've done it, I've gotten hit. There's times where I can have the outlook that the stock can go up and down off of earnings. But am I going to put an actual monetary bet on that? Am I going to put some money, some capital on that? Probably not, team. And the reason why is earnings can go anywhere. It can be based off of the current environment. It can be based off valuations. It can be based off of prior history and how the earnings have been coming in and maybe surprising, even though they're missing. Things like this play into earnings, and it's too much of a coin flip. All right, guys, that's going to do it for us. It's about to be 4 o'clock. Be careful out there, team. It does look like it's a chop day, and it's a chop to the end on the downside, actually. 15-minute candle, big red candle here. This could actually continue the leak here. SQQQ starting to come back here. The Q's right back below 378. It was a big level to watch 377 earlier today. I'm going to be watching to see if we break down through 377 in after hours action. If we do get below 377, I think we could leak right back in the Qs. We'll see what happens on that action. And of course, if we come back down below this low, it's 376. Yeah, we could be right back into the 370s. Remember, September is the worst month for equities. Of course, there's some other statistic that's out there, but at least just overall, that's what it is. Be careful out there, traders. Enjoy your trading. Stay safe. Like always, we'll be right here on Benzinga to keep you guys in the know. Of course, hit the like button if you guys enjoyed Start Swing Trade. I still got my 4 swing trades on Chevron, Apple, Intel, and American Airlines. We'll find out what happens. Hit the thumbs up. I'll see you guys bright and early on Pre-Market Prep. What?